All right, let's take a look at where we left off. We can start our game. We can select a character. We have a really nice camera movement scripts. We have enemy detection. The thing is, I'd like it where if the player touches my character, we have like some sort of health bar. Something else that would be nice is that if we adjust this main camera, here, let's start our game. Um, Maybe the camera is too centered on the guy, on the character. Remember, we have this like this Z here. So we can adjust the X or the Y axis, right, as we pivot around this. Um, so maybe we do something like, let's see, we go up on X a little bit here. Yeah, so that looks like minus 30 is where we want to be. And then maybe we shift it. Let's see. Yeah, I think minus 30 is probably pretty good. Um, so let's go to level 01 and then just select our main camera. And maybe we'll just make this minus 30 here. Give us a little bit of space. And then save that off. All right. Now, what I'd like to do is start off by creating some sort of player health script and have that player take damage. It's probably going to need about 3 scripts from this because we want to really compartmentalize this logic so it's easier for other engineers to work on the game with us. So inside of our scripts folder here, under the player folder, and really we could break this up even more into like managers, like create another scripts folder and just call that managers. And honestly, moving forward, I think I'm going to introduce you to namespaces because then you won't have to do the underscore CSS. But we'll get into that later. So here's our managers, here's our non-playable character scripts, and here's our player scripts. And then, I'm going to throw do not destroy inside that managers folder as well. All right, so let's right click, create a C# script. And let's just call this player health. And then remember we have 3 players. We have our Sally, Theo, and TJ. Let's go ahead and make sure that we actually grab the player health script and drop it on there. So now all 3 of them have that. Let's grab our player health script and drag it on the side here. Now, there's a couple things that we need to do when we're thinking about player health. We need a max health, which I'm going to be generic and just give it 100. And then we also need the current health. Current health is like when we touch the mushroom, our health might go down 10 points. Those 2 variables look like this. Now, I made them both integers because I'm just going to be working with a value slider and I want to give them whole numbers, not fractional. And it makes it a little bit easier. Now, something to do right off the bat is to just set current health equal to what our maximum health is at the very start of the game. So now when we save this and we go back in, you'll see that each one of them, Sally, Theo, and TJ, all have this max health variable, we set that at 100, and you could always adjust that later if you like. And since it's one script shared across all 3, all 3 of them will have the same health. All right, next what I want to do is I want to create a method inside of here just for taking damage. So it's just going to subtract a certain amount. Now, this is going to take in a specific value, like because maybe we have bigger mushrooms that hurt the character more versus smaller mushrooms, and so we're not gonna hard code a lot of those values. So let me go ahead and pause the video and type that out. All right, so let's take a look at this method. It has 1 parameter, and so when we call this method take damage, we can pass in an integer. And this is what I was talking about. So let's say our character bumps into a bigger enemy, we can send in 50 damage. And then we have and we're going to have to update this too when we start working on power-ups, like health power-ups and things like that, so that this takes in those values. But for now, just to keep things simple, what we're saying is the current health is equal to the current health minus the damage amount coming in. And then because we don't have our heads-up display yet in the game, we're just going to print that to the screen. Now, if this current health variable is less than or equal to 0, we're just going to restart the player's position. So what we're going to do for that is we'll create a variable here that we can drag in our spawn point. And so once we hit 0, the game will restart with the player in the very beginning of the game, which I know for some games that's frustrating. Other games it's a design mechanic. You could do it where you just quit the game. Remember we did application quit with the button in the previous tutorial? You could do something like that where it just quits the game if you die, or you go to a lose screen. For now, I want to give them as many opportunities as they can to beat the level. So up at the top here, let's go ahead and create a vector2. Now, what we have to do is actually, let's make this public just to make it easier for us to script it. So when I save that now, you can see, actually, you know what? I don't know if it's going to find the spawn point right away. The one in our scene, because we're loading in these characters from our game manager. So we might have to find the game object in our scene, which is the spawn point, and then load in those values. Let's go ahead and do that. Here, where's our character here? I like seeing our character just kind of up as these things update the prefab. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this line out here, and I'll just put all of that logic right inside of the respawn point player position. So here, let's go ahead and, I think I named it restart here. So once it equals 0, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it call this method here. And inside of here, what I'm going to do is, and I'll just type this out. I know it's going to be a little longer, but it helps. I'm going to have find a game object in this scene. So I'm going to make one called spawn point. So we're just making a new variable here called game object spawn point. And what I'm looking for is game object. And then I think last time we did find, I think we did find game object by the name or something. What we could do this time is game object with tag, and then here's our spawn point, and then we could just create a new spawn point just to teach you something new. Here's spawn point. And so inside of here, I want to copy this, make sure that this is spelled right. And oops. You have to forgive me, I record some of these videos at like 5 a.m. Okay, so here we go. Spawn point. So this variable is just saying, hey, I want to store a reference to this spawn point in my scene. So it's looking for this. Make sure that that tag is on to your character or on your spawn point, and it's actually spelled the same here and here. Otherwise, this won't work. Now we want to add that check that we've been doing before, which is just a null check to make sure that it did find it. So I'm going to say if, and then just hit tab. Spawn point, and that's the name of the variable, is not equal to null. What we're going to do is we're going to set the position, because remember, this player health script is attached to our player, so we could just access that by just saying transform.position is equal to, and then we're just going to do spawn point dot transform dot position here. And really that's it. So if our player's health is set to 0, it'll respawn. I think that's good. And then else you can just you can write something like, man, I am not on my game today. Okay. Print. We'll just do that for fun. No spawn point found. And actually, one other thing I think I'd like to do is I'd like to move this line 32 here, game object spawn point. I'd like to just control X that, and I'm going to just drop it out here, and then just let's copy this again and start. So right when the game, right away, what I'd like to do is, let's make sure that it understands that this is the same spawn point. So this spawn point game object here, boom. So now you can see it turned from dark gray to purple. So these are associated. When I click on it, you can see they're connected. I think right at start, I want to load this, and let's make this public so we can just check to see that once our character loads in the game, it finds the spawn point in the scene. So let's save this script here. Let's press play, and I think that would work. So here's Theo. And also, I think with my main camera, something else I kind of adjusted is I made it 10 and 5 so that it goes in the corner. But let's see. Okay, so we have, where's Theo? Theo, and it did find the spawn point, which is good. And if I move Theo a little bit off here, I don't think it'll update right away. But if I hit 0 and I enter 0 here, yeah. This has really got to get called from that method in order to fire off. But anyway, that's it for this video. What we'll do in the next one is we'll take a look at how we can call this take damage script from another script, from the enemy script or something, like an enemy damage script.